Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining me to test out some of the hottest new makeup releases. Today I will be testing out the new Lancome Idole Ultra Wear Care and Glow foundation. I also have one of these new refillable blushes from RMS Beauty. They are a Hydra Powder blush, and so many people have been raving about this blush. Most of the shades sold out very quickly at Sephora, but I managed to get one of the shades when it came back in stock. I have Maiden's Blush. Then I have this beautiful palette from LA Girl. I saw this on, I think it was Instagram, and I instantly knew I had to get it. These shimmers and mattes look incredible. Now, I don't know if they will actually be incredible. That's what this video is for, to try them out. And this has a little plastic insert with the names of each shadow, so I'm going to try and call off the names of the shadows as I use them. So in case you like the look I end up doing and you buy this palette, you can recreate it. So what else? I have a new Rare Beauty lipstick and a couple of the lip liners to try. I also have these new Eyelure pre-glued Luxe Faux Mink lashes. I love a wispy corner lash. I feel like they really lift and open up my hooded, downturned eyes, and pre-glued sounds pretty good. It says they have 15-hour wear and take only seconds to apply. I also have a new highlighter from Sydney Grace to try. And then I kind of messed up on this one. This is the Beauty Blender Dream Big, and I don't know why, but I thought this was a bigger version of the Beauty Blender sponge. I don't know why I thought that. I also thought, by reading the description, that it was going to be more like my Stands Out sponge that I adore, where it kind of feels like the insides of a memory foam mattress. But it turns out this is just a regular Beauty Blender, just in a pretty periwinkle color. So I will use this to test out the Lancome foundation. I purchased the shade 335W in the new Idole Ultra Wear because on the chart they had, it is the one that coincided with the shade I wear in the original Idole. But as we all know, foundation charts and descriptions are not always 100% correct. So I'm going to go wet this new Beauty Blender and we will get started. All right, let's open up this foundation. Here is what the bottle looks like. I am certain you will be seeing tons of reviews on YouTube for this foundation. And I, as usual, will at the end of this video, put a caption on the screen letting you know how it wore throughout the day today. You may or may not be able to notice that my skin has a little bit of a greenish tint to it because the self-tanner that I used, I've had it for several months and it's kind of turned a little bit green, the tint has. So yeah, I feel like it's given me a little bit of a greenish tint. In hindsight, I really should have used my Isle of Paradise tanner because that has no tint to it. Anyway, let's try this new Lancome foundation. I am going to put a little bit on my finger first and then apply it. Take the Beauty Blender. And I like to use the flat side of the Beauty Blender. I guess it's because I'm so used to using this Stands Out sponge. Okay, it's a little bit dark, a little bit golden, but I did choose a warm shade. The coverage is nice. It's quite heavily fragranced, which I know a lot of people are not going to like. I know I shouldn't be surprised because Lancome is pretty fragranced overall. Yeah, this is definitely dark and warm for me. But I think once my tanner kicks in, it'll be okay. I do like the coverage. I am finding the scent to be quite overpowering. The coverage on this is definitely medium, and it does claim to have a medium coverage, not full, not sheer. It also claims to have a natural finish, and up to 24-hour transfer resistance. Healthy looking glow serum foundation with buildable medium coverage and SPF 27, plus hyaluronic and mandelic acids to hydrate and smooth skin for a natural looking glow finish. It definitely does give a beautiful finish. I am going to see if it can be built up a little bit right here. Yeah, I guess it's true. It is buildable. Now, a damp beauty blender does tend to shear out coverage quite a bit, I find. So I am going to use the Stands Out sponge on the other side. I really need to clean my sponge. Yeah, the Stands Out sponge definitely gives more coverage right off the bat, which is what I prefer. Aside from it just being a little bit warm, and again, that's because I chose a warm shade, I don't hate the color. I think, again, once my self-tanner kicks in, it's going to look nice. And then, as many of you know, I will often take my foundation down my neck and chest anyway. This is very, very pretty. Just adding a little bit more again right through here. If this foundation doesn't turn me into an oil slick, because I do have oily skin, I do often struggle with glowy foundations. But you know, every year these beauty companies are coming out with better formulas that actually work for more skin types. And it does say on the Sephora website that it is good for dry, oily, and combo skin. Okay, we are off to a good start. All right, since I don't have a new concealer to try, I'm just going to go in with one I have sitting here. This is a Chanel concealer. And I'm just using a BK Beauty Angie Hot and Flashy brush. You know what, I'm gonna put a little eyeshadow primer on first before I do my concealer. This is from P. Louise. Now, I use eyeshadow primers with every eyeshadow palette I use, no matter if it's from the drugstore or if it's Tom Ford or Natasha Denona. My lids are so oily, I have to use an eyeshadow primer, or else my lids will be a pool of oil in just a couple of hours. All right, so that looks pretty good. I'm going to take my Beauty Blender and just sort of blend it all together. I'm going to powder with this Rare Beauty powder, also not new. I do want to try the new Laura Mercier powder. They just reformulated the translucent setting powder to make it be more blurring. So I'm really excited to try that. I looked this morning to see if it was available at my local Sephora because I was going to go run out and get it before I started filming this video. But unfortunately, it said it was out of stock. And I don't know if that means that it was in stock and it sold out, or that it's going to be in stock soon, because that's what Sephora does sometimes. They will say that it's out of stock, but what they mean is they haven't even gotten it yet. It's coming soon. I actually haven't used this powder in a while and it's really blurring. Very nice. I also don't have a brand new brow pencil, but the one I'm going to use is sort of new, and I just purchased it in a different shade. I have been loving the Give by Gwen Stefani Hella On Point Ultra Fine Brow Pencil, and I've been using the shade 1 Neutral Blonde. But if you recall a couple videos ago, if you watch my videos regularly, which I know obviously not everyone does, but I did mention recently that I have been trying more cool toned brow products. So I went for shade 2 this time, which is Cool Blonde. So let's see how this looks. I really like the formula of this brow pencil though. And by the way, I really like the way my skin is looking with this foundation and that Rare Beauty powder. This Cool Blonde is like the perfect match for my brows. And then, as usual, I am carving out my brows with a little NARS concealer. And then we will get started with the eyeshadow palette, the new LA Girl. Ooh, my tinnitus is really bad today. And by the way, I really do appreciate when people check in on me and ask me how I'm doing with the tinnitus. I've yet to try the acupuncture. I know I said I was going to. I just haven't yet. I mean, most days I can tolerate it. I've learned to live with it. But some days it's just so loud, and it's also kind of gone into this ear. Before it was just this ear, and now it's like I'm in stereo. It kind of goes into this ear too. So just thought I would say that I do appreciate all of your follow-up messages asking me how I'm dealing with it and offering me suggestions and stuff. So anyway, thank you all for your concern. I really do appreciate it. Now let's get into this palette. All right, I'm going to start with this brush from the Morphe Makeup by Ariel collection. Zoom you in a little bit. And I am going to take the shade Ombre. Oh, that is very pigmented and smooth. So we are off to a good start. So I'm putting that all over the lid and just sort of blending it out and diffusing it up into my crease with my eyes open. Taking it all the way up, but just lightly. The majority of the color is down here, and then I'm just bringing it up and out. All right, and so now we're going to do the other side the exact same way. I used a little bit less on this side because it was more pigmented than I expected, so I didn't kind of tap in as hard as I did the first time. Now I'm taking a flat shader brush, you can use any, and going into the matte ivory shade called, I think it's supposed to be Macrame. There's just no accent on the E. And I'm popping that under the brow. Okay, this one is not as pigmented as I expected, but that's okay. Not everybody wants a bright ivory highlight. I was expecting it to be like the ivory that's in like the ABH Modern Renaissance palette. I used that one a lot for underneath my brow, but this one is fine. Now let's try one of the deeper browns. I'm going to use the Rephr 01 brush and the shade Explorer. And I'm patting that on the outer corners of my eyes. Ooh. Now we're back to some good pigmentation and some good blendability. Very nice. Very, very nice. And I'm sort of just blending that in. As you can hopefully see, doing this just really lifts my eyes up, I find. Yeah, you just need a little dot of this shadow to get really nice pigment. All right, now to blend out this area right here, I'm going to go in with the shade Desert Sky, which is like a matte light peach. And holding the very end of this BK Beauty brush, I'm just sort of swirling and blending the other two shades that I used together. Just using a very light touch. Now I'm going to try using one of the shimmers with my finger to see how that goes on. And if that doesn't go on very pigmented, I'm going to use a damp brush. I really wish the shade names were just on the palette. This one is called, which one do I want to use? Let's use Golden Glow. I might actually layer these. I was honestly expecting a little bit more color payoff, but it's buildable. So these are just toppers. They're not really like pressed pigments or anything, but oh, I think that's very subtle and pretty. You know, not everyone wants a full-on glitter moment. So pretty. This reminds me a lot of the shimmer shades that are in the Charlotte Tilbury quads. I've got some sunset eyes going on. But I kind of want to put a pop of something lighter in the center, so I'm going to use this shade right here. Again with my finger, and just pop that right here. Pretty. Oh, I got a little bit of shimmer in my crease because hooded eye problems. It's okay, I'm going to use this brush that I used for the dark brown. Kind of tap in to that area. All right, I'm going to do a little bit more blending with just a clean brush. And then once again with some concealer, I am going to clean up the edges. Much like I did with my brows, I like to clean up the corners of my eyes. I just feel like it gives that lifted effect that I am going for. Now using this kind of curved brush from the Makeup by Ariel collection, I am going into that first shade that we used all over the lid and patting that on the lower lash lines. If you don't have this Makeup by Ariel brush set, I highly recommend it. It is so good. This brush in particular is really, really nice. And I do believe they have just an eye set. I have the whole set with the face brushes and all, but they do make just an eye set. And now I'm taking a little bit of that darker brown that I used on the outer corners and applying that to the outer corners here as well. I'm going in with my favorite eyeliner brush from BK Beauty. This is the 208. I am going to dampen this brush and use the darker matte brown in the palette and get very, very close to the base of my lashes. Ooh, this is working beautifully as an eyeliner. And then I'm also lifting up the corners here too. Just making like a baby wing. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and do the other eye quickly off camera. Okay, I also went ahead and applied my mascara. And before we test out these Eyelure lashes, I'm going to bronze up my face just a little bit with my Gucci bronzer. I didn't really do any contouring today. I'm gonna contour a little bit just with my bronzer here. I'm still really, really liking how this foundation is looking. Okay, now let's try these lashes. So supposedly, I should just be able to pop them right on. I'm going to use some tweezers to lift them off the tray. They're not coming off super easily. All right, here we go. Hopefully I stay in frame. Okay, those are not sticking. Step 1, measure and trim, which I didn't need to trim. Step 2, attach to lash line. Okay, this isn't supposed to be rocket science. But these are not sticking at all, like at all. I'm gonna try the other one and see if that one wants to stick. Okay, this one's sticking to my finger at least. Yes, I know I need to do my nails. Okay. This one's stuck, but I mean, it is super easy just to peel off. Okay, I'm just gonna let it sit there I don't even know if I put this one on that it will stay. No, there's like no stickiness to this hardly at all. Maybe because some of the stickiness got left on the tray. I don't know if you can see that there. I do like the style of the lash, but I think I'm going to have to use good old-fashioned lash glue. All right, I'm gonna go grab some lash glue because I didn't bring any in here because I didn't think I needed it. And I will pop this lash on the regular way. All right, time for blush. I am so excited to try this RMS blush. I think I mentioned this already, but it is a refillable blush. I debated for quite a while on which shade to get because I typically go for a bright pink or a pinky peach, but ultimately I decided to go for something different. So I went for this Maiden's blush, and oh, this is so pretty, and it's going to go so beautifully with the look I've got going on here. So pretty. Okay, it's very softly pigmented, which I like. That is a really pretty shade. And look at that glow. I almost don't even need a highlighter with this. And it's buildable. It's not like there's a ton of overwhelming pigmentation right off the bat. This is really, really a beautiful blush. All right, Sydney Grace sent me a PR package with a couple of new palettes that looked beautiful. I almost wanted to bump the LA Girl palette, but obviously I didn't, so I will use one of those Sydney Grace palettes in a future video. But I thought this highlighter looked really, really beautiful. It's called Heaven, and it's kind of like an icy opalescent shade. And that is exactly what it is. I feel like I got a cheekbone lift. I'm gonna put a little bit underneath my brows. And I'm also going to put a little bit in my tear ducts. Oh, this is a really nice inner corner highlight if you're into that look, which I am. I'm using the Kind Words lip pencil in Gifted. Now this is a twist up lip pencil. I personally prefer an old school lip pencil like MAC or the new Anastasia Beverly Hills lip pencils or Makeup by Mario. That's just my personal preference. I like to get a very sharp point with my pencils sometimes. So for this look, I am going sort of more for a 90s vibe with a little bit of a darker liner versus the lipstick. So I filled my lips in just a little bit on the outer corners. And now I'm going in with the matte lipstick in the shade Worthy. Oh, I like this combo. It's actually not as light as I thought it was going to be against the lip pencil. I am kind of loving this combo. All right, this is the completed look. Both of these lashes are lifting just a little bit. I would definitely buy this corner lash if they weren't the pre-glued kind. So this was kind of a miss, but everything else I love. Do you need this new Dream Big Beauty Blender? Absolutely not, but it is a very pretty color. So far, so good with the new Lancome Foundation. As I mentioned earlier, I will have something right here on the screen stating how the foundation held up after about 9-10 hours on my oily skin in this 108-degree Las Vegas heat. My only complaint about it so far is that I do find the initial fragrance to be quite overpowering. What's interesting is that I decided to look more closely at the ingredients. I mean, I knew it had hyaluronic acid, mandelic acid, dimethicone, water, and then fragrance is actually towards the bottom. So, So far, so good with this LA Girl eyeshadow palette. Obviously, I didn't use all the shades in the palette, but the ones I did try, I'm really very impressed with, especially for $18. This palette, in my opinion, is definitely worth the money, and I feel like I certainly did achieve a sun-kissed glow. The RMS blush and the Sydney Grace highlighter, both winners Absolutely. And as I said earlier, I really, really like this lip combo. And I'm feeling like this matte lipstick is one of the most smoothing and comfortable that I've tried. It's got that push in, pop open packaging going on. And the lip liner, even though it's not the kind I prefer, it still goes on really nicely. It was easy to blend. You can still get a really defined Cupid's bow if that's what you're looking to do. And Rare Beauty did very kindly send me a PR package with all the lipstick and liner shades in it. So I'm going to be testing out probably all of them, and I will let you know which ones are my favorites. But I wanted to wait until today to test out the formulas of each before I kind of dove into that PR package. I always like these videos to be true first impressions. So yeah, those are my first impressions of some of the hottest new makeup releases. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you are not already subscribed to my channel, please hit the subscribe button and join the Risa Does Makeup family. I do post new content at least twice a week. You can also find more content from me on Instagram and on TikTok. TikTok is definitely where I focus more on fashion, and you get to see more of my silly, some might say cringy side over on TikTok. But I don't care. I'm just having fun, and that's all that matters. So I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day or evening, and I hope to see you in my next video.